Hey there, Riverman fans. I'm Jason Ruff. Welcome back to another episode of the Dry Dock Podcast. It's the podcast where we take a look and take a chat with some Riverman players, past and present, get up to speed on what they've been up to now that the ship is in dry dock. Our next guest is a player well known to many Riverman fans. He was the hero, the man whose goal in overtime brought the President's Cup to Peoria, the proud son of Dallas, Texas, JM Piotrowski. JM, thanks for joining us. Looking good. I understand you recently just got back from a trip overseas. How was that?
It was great. I was in San Miguel, Mexico for a wedding. Never been there before. It's not the typical place you'd think of when traveling to Mexico, but it was a really cool experience. Beautiful city, a lot of history there. So it was definitely one that I got to check off my bucket list that I didn't even know that I had on. Really cool.
Absolutely. And where in Mexico is San Miguel?
It's I would say right in the middle of the country. It's not beachside. Um, it's luckily for me not too far from Texas, less than 2 hour flight.
Okay.
So super easy to get there, direct flight, didn't have to connect anywhere. But yeah, it was awesome. Really hot, but I'm used to that here in Texas.
You fly out of DFW or Love?
DFW, American Airlines. Luckily, real close to my house too, so didn't have much travel time excess, I guess you could say.
I know folks in the Dallas Fort Worth area, they're either DFW people or they're Love people. So you seem like you're a DFW guy.
Well, I am a Southwest credit card holder, so I am loyal to them, and just depends on where I'm going. So for this trip specifically, it was American, and actually when I go to Peoria, and I come home for Christmas and all that stuff, there's a direct flight from Dallas to Peoria, which is super nice. A lot of guys don't have that luxury.
Absolutely.
Um, so I guess I'm transitioning from Southwest to American, but keeping them both on deck.
Absolutely. I prefer Love myself when I was down in Texas, but regardless, a lot of people obviously know you as the guy who scored the game-winning goal, and obviously that brings a ton of pressure when you are the guy whose name is going to live forever in Riverman lore, especially with the following season. How did you deal with the internal expectations that you had on yourself here this past season coming off a championship?
Well, I would first say that I hope people could know me for a little bit more than that, but it's definitely not a bad thing. Yeah, I think I got a lot of questions asked throughout the year, throughout the off season, heading into this past season, and as cool as it is, and how that will live in history in Peoria Riverman history. I think my focus kind of was pretty short lived, and I just wanted to focus on what was ahead of me. Whenever my career ends and I look back at all of the opportunities and the experiences that I had in Peoria, that'll be certainly right up there at the top. But yeah, I didn't think of it too much as like a pressure situation. I was really confident in the group that we had last year, so it really took the pressure off me, and I think our team had a overall another really great season.
Well, another thing that people certainly know you for is being the CEO of your own clothing line, the House of JMP, the comfiest sweaters I have ever worn. Hands down, that is not a paid endorsement. That is a genuine fact. It seems like every time the Rivermen go on the road trip, everyone either has their House of JMP sweaters on or they're bugging you trying to figure out how to get one. What goes into the process, the inspiration of how you come up with all these different designs for a bunch of different products now, not just sweatshirts, but also t-shirts and even sneakers now, I understand. And what does that design process look like for you when you get an idea? How does that go from in your head to an actual product that people can buy?
First of all, yeah, it's a really cool feeling whenever we get on the bus and a lot of guys have their hoodies on, or even just this past season, so many around the rink. Just fans very supportive of not only the Rivermen, but a small business from one of the players. A really cool feeling. But the the most blunt answer I could give was it started out of a lot of boredom. 2020 July, like right at the beginning of the pandemic. I think I've told you the story last time when I was on here. Just not much to do, and I've always kind of thought of myself as a bit of a creative. So doing tie dye was kind of the thing that was in at the time, and I think it's still riding a pretty high wave. And I think that it's just something that I enjoy doing. And obviously social media plays a big part in driving creation and pushing people to come up with the next big thing. And so I just found a bit of a pocket for a market that I was interested in, and I'm just really grateful for all the support that I've been able to have over the last couple of years.
So do actual customers or potential customers kind of throw you ideas like, hey, I'd love this color combination with that color combination, see how it looks, or is it something that you come up with yourself?
Yeah, I'm definitely open to input. I'm in the process of making one for Katie up in the office, something that she saw. I made one for Marcel that she really liked. And so, yeah, I mean, I'm open to ideas and custom, and I have kind of my base models available, I guess you could say. The other thing I have is came up this year with jerseys, which was really cool. And those were actually a really big hit for the second half of the year. I was really proud of those, and I'm sure I got some new things in the work will come out next season.
How many different color combinations are there now, the House of JMP? Because I remember 2 years ago when the Rivermen were making the playoff run that they won the championship on, the 22 playoff run, I think there were like 4 or 5 different color options. Now it seems like you have almost every kind of color under the sun. How many colored options do you have now, all in tie-dye?
I don't have a specific number on it. I'd say for the first year it was all pretty much just one color. You know, it was either like green and white or like black and white or purple and white. But I did have a lot of those, and then this past season is kind of when I started mixing the colors, doing the fireman hoodies, which were the red base sweater with the black. That was definitely a hit, and yeah, then I kind of moved into like blue and orange. I made one of those for Chris Alleman, and he was kind of the first one to pioneer a new idea of like mixing the colors. And a lot of it is just trial and error. Sometimes I'll do something and I'm like, oh, that doesn't look very good, or but it's part of the process and it's fun to experiment. So I can't give you an infinite or a definite number, but I guess it's really infinity. It's kind of whatever I can come up with.
I've asked you this question before.
And
I
I know you've asked me about
it again.
bow ties. Yeah.
JMP,
I was
House of
waiting for
JMP
that
bow
one.
ties. Are those coming anytime soon? I promise I will buy every single design you put out, or even a
Yeah.
regular tie. Even a regular tie. I'll settle for a regular tie.
Yeah. I, I don't know. I mean, I love to like continue to push the pace on up with new ideas, but sometimes it's easier with everything going on to stick with what works.
Mhm.
So I'm not giving you a no, I'm not giving you a yes at the time being, so we'll just have to wait and see.
You're giving me the polite no is what you're giving me. It's good. It's all
I don't
good.
know if that's in. Sure, I don't know. I don't. Sometimes you got to stick to what you're good at. It's like if
Hey,
if McDonald's started making hot dogs, I don't know that would be their thing. You just if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
they said the same thing when McDonald's went into those little little mini apple pies too. If I remember correctly.
I'm not surprised that you knew that, but okay, fair enough. Good rebuttal.
But JM, so we talked a little bit about this before interview, but now I really want to bring it up. We had Zach Wilkie on last week, and he made mention of you and his top 3 guys who are the most serious personalities in the locker room outside of Alec Hagman, of course, because everyone knows how Hags is in the room. Is Zach Wilkie right on that? Do you have a rebuttal? Or do you consider yourself a serious guy in the room?
I'm not gonna refute that. I don't think being serious is a bad thing. But even if you look at Hags, like yes, Hags is very serious, but Hags is also one of the funniest guys to be around. It's just all about timing. So I
Mhm.
think for me, yeah, I mean, there's definitely times where I need to be serious, and there's times where I feel other people are looking to me for certain things, so I don't want to be giving off the wrong message. I would say a majority of the time it's like it's just like Wilkes said, he's come to the rink every day and it's fun. It's
Mhm.
yes, it's our profession, it's our job, but it's a fun atmosphere to be around, and I feel like I kind of embody that for a majority of the time being just certain circumstances call for a more serious nature. So for me, I would have to disagree. I think there's definitely guys that are more focused than I am at certain times, but it doesn't mean that we don't all have our fun when it comes to the right time.
Seems like one of the unique things about the Riverman locker room is its ability to be like when it's business time, it's all business go. But when it's time to have fun, so many guys can just, let the shoulders down and have fun. Where do you think that comes from?
Well, I think it comes from probably many years before I ever arrived in Peoria. Obviously, the culture, the winning culture, was built, through guys like Hags and Nevs and Mitch, and then obviously Coach Gee. But I think it's also part of just the direction of the world. The pandemic really changed a lot of things with how we do business, and it's not always all about working 80 hours a week and pushing to get that promotion because sometimes you burn out. And I think that for us, it's like we have a 7 month long season, and if it's many hours a day at the rink where it's all business and there's not any time for fun, I think it really will burn out. And I think that's the best part about the Peoria Rivermen is I've never had more fun coming to a job every day, and a lot of that is just from the culture. And I think Hags is easily the center point and the focal point of that. And for me, I know when I got to Peoria, it was like, I'm going to watch this guy and I'm going to do whatever he does.
Mhm.
And, you get enough guys on board like that, and it's really easy to be contagious and create that culture that has allowed us to have so much success over the past couple of years.
Absolutely. And then now your hockey journey has been very eventful, very adventurous. You've been in a lot of different places before coming to Peoria. When you look at a lot of the stops you've been at, what was your most memorable or one of the most unique stops in your journey thus far and why?
Um, well, you look at the hockey DB or the elite prospects, definitely Australia sticks out. But another cool hockey experience that I got to have was the summer before my senior year of college. I went to Salzburg in Austria at the Red Bull facility,
Mhm.
and I was fortunate enough to be there for a week and training with some of those pro guys that were either playing on Red Bull Munich or Red Bull Salzburg, which is the top professional Germany and Austria. Um, and I think that whole experience is just the technology that they had there and the seclusion, being out in the mountains in Austria, and just the laser focus of training. That's something that it's like I said, it's not on my elite prospects, but it's one of the coolest hockey experiences I've ever had. And then additionally to that, going overseas, when I was a senior in college, we played in the Friendship Four tournament in Belfast, Ireland,
Mhm.
and I'm half Irish, so that was the first time that I'd ever gone over to Ireland, and that was another week long experience being with all my college teammates, playing hockey for the first time overseas. It was a really cool and unique experience that obviously not everyone gets to do, and so compiling that with my Australia experience, my overseas hockey trips have definitely stood out as the most memorable.
Rivalries are a big part in sports at no matter what level, whether it be the Peoria Rivermen taking on the Quad City Storm or the Bears taking on the Green Bay Packers. Used to play hockey for the Yale Bulldogs, and their rivalry with Harvard is historic. What are some of the more unique aspects from the hockey side of one of the oldest collegiate rivalries in American history?
Yeah, I think that's a game where, whether it's hockey, whether it's football, whether it's any sport, whenever Harvard Yale plays, that's or rowing is another big one with those two. Um, I think it's just something that the community can really get around the campus, whether it's in Boston or whether it's in New Haven. It's something that everybody shows out for. And I think that kind of just adds to the narrative every year. It seems like the way that the programs are going, they're always kind of trending up, and so maybe one year a team is a little bit better, they have the edge, but on that certain day it doesn't really ever matter. I think anything can happen. I think that's the cool thing about rivalries in general in sports is no matter how the team's doing that season with that kind of narrative and up, um, anything can happen. You look at Michigan, Ohio State, that's always a big one, and it seems like it's always a coin toss no matter the season who's going to win. And I just think that that's the coolest part about rivalries in sports.
Absolutely. Now, another big rivalry is, for example, Texas and Texas A&M, a rivalry I'm sure you know as a Dallas native quite well. As a Texan Texas native, how would you say the game of hockey has grown in the Lone Star State over the last 20 or so years? And where do you want to see it continue to grow in your state now?
Dallas Stars moving in the late '90s is really the turning point. Getting a professional and NHL team is like you look at Vegas. I mean, that you're gonna look in the next 10 years and there's gonna be prospects coming out of Vegas just because of the Golden Knights and the success that they've had. For me, I think it was just I first moved to Dallas and started playing. It was more for an opportunity.
Mhm.
I was in the Chicago area for a while, and it was a kind of a situation where I was just like in a big pond of players, and having the ability to go to Dallas and maybe get more of a role is what opened a lot of doors for me in my career. And I think that the Dallas Stars elite like youth program is one of the top programs in the nation. And I think, if that could continue to grow into maybe multiple, where you're looking at a city like Chicago or Detroit where they have 4 or 5 really dominant AAA teams.
Mhm.
But I think the support from the Dallas Stars and the community, all of the rinks that they have around, and then just really it comes down to coaching, getting a lot of people, former players. I know all of my former coaches and were like former professional players, and they had success and they wanted to settle down in a nice place like Dallas. Great weather,
Mhm.
little bit less tax in the everyday life. So it's a it's a lot of incentive to I think people that are willing to give back and people that genuinely know the game. That's going to be what grows and really drives the success of the future for Dallas hockey.
I'm surprised you didn't mention the food in Texas. If that's not a reason to go move down there, I don't know what is.
I feel like everybody says that about their
It,
city. Like, oh, we have the
that's
best of this.
true.
Everybody's
That's
kind
true.
of they're. I mean, yes, Dallas is great, and Texas in general is great. There's so many options you can. They actually they just put up a Portillo's here in Dallas,
There you go.
um, which is obviously, as Peoria knows, a more like Illinois based
Mhm.
type restaurant. And then I remember seeing one in Tampa, Florida one time, and now I think there's maybe one in Phoenix, and now there's one in Dallas. So it's Dallas kind of has everything, which is really nice. And then obviously the Tex-Mex is what stands out the most. And my personal favorite, Whataburger, is a Texas chain. So yeah, the food's covered here, but I mean, I think you can find, no matter where you are, there's always somebody in their city claiming they have the best X, Y, or Z.
Absolutely. I do wish they had that Portillo's in Dallas like 5 years ago. Because when I was in Odessa for 3 years, my roommate and I, who's also from the Midwest, working down in Odessa, we'd have to fly Portillo's in for like a special occasion. Shipping
Hmm.
costs was an arm and a leg. Obviously, it'd be a lot cheaper
So
if
worth it though.
order it order it from order from
Yeah,
Dallas. Absolutely worth it.
yeah,
Absolutely worth it.
yeah.
But one of the things that not a lot of folks know is that our parents know each other very well. And I hear constantly from my folks, Mr. Piotrowski is a master behind the grill. So I got to ask, what is the secret to really, really good? What's the secret to really good Texas brisket?
Oh my gosh. Well, maybe you'll have to get him on here next week and ask him. The funny thing is, like, my dad is he depending on the family, there's sometimes the mom cooks everything, sometimes the dad cooks everything. My dad is the cook for everything in the family, but whenever I ask him, I was like, he doesn't like cooking dinner. Like, he doesn't even enjoy it. He just does it because he feels like it's his responsibility. Um, so I don't know. Maybe that's the secret. The secret is just to not care and just do whatever you're feeling that day, and then you put out a great product for everybody to eat. So I
Maybe.
guess that's my answer.
Oh, that's your answer. We're sticking you to it.
Yeah.
Um, second to last question for you, because I want to give you a chance to hype up where House of JMP is going, a chance to hype up how folks can get some of the great merch. But question for you, what is your preferred summer weekend? You could do whatever you want, wherever you want, with whomever you want, no responsibilities. You only get a weekend though. What's JMP's preferred holiday weekend?
Oh, well, I thought about this question whenever I watched the first two episodes, but I'm a dreamer by nature, so I'm gonna go big here, and I'm gonna have to stretch it to more than a weekend. But I would, it's on my bucket list. Once I just cross off the Mexico part, but uh, going to the Maldives,
Mm,
that's got to be my number one. Just the blue, like crystal water. Stay in one of those little, like, I don't even know what you would call it. Like I've seen
bungalow.
like yeah, like a bungalow, but it's like all glass. It's just clear, and you're right on the water, like on a dock, something like that. And just like whenever I have enough money one day to take a trip like that, I think I'm gonna take the first chance I get to do it. Just relaxing, drinking a nice local beer. Um, Hopefully catching a little bit of sun, considering I am not the tannest guy around. Hopefully could catch that there.
You mean both,
Um,
brother.
yeah, and I think that's going to remain on the top of my list until I cross it off.
Absolutely. Oh, that sounds so relaxing. I feel relaxed just listening to that description right
Yeah.
now. Well, Jan, we just about have to go, but I want to give you a chance to hype up the House of JMP. If you want to give us a preview of what's coming down the pike for your clothing brand, feel free. But if not, want to keep it under wraps, that's perfectly fine. Where can folks go to get some House of JMP merch?
Yeah, I appreciate that. Same website, houseofjmp.com. I would say that the last couple of weeks for me since the season ended has been a lot of time off and relaxing. So I apologize to anyone who has an order out there right now. I don't think I'm too behind. Katie, I promise I'm working on yours. But yeah, there's nothing too specific in the works. I think I'm, like I said earlier, I'm kind of sticking with works. And then as we get closer to hockey season, we'll see about maybe a new jersey coming out next year, or maybe even dipping into getting some of the players their own custom House of JMP jerseys, so you can all have your favorite Riverman player with a House of JMP jersey. So that's I'll leave it at that, and then the rest we'll leave to everyone's imagination.
And do you have social media where folks can follow the House of JMP on socials?
Yeah, just Instagram is mainly where I post things. House of JMP, the handle, and then like I said, just the houseofjmp.com is, if you're feeling eager to buy something, or like I said earlier too, if there's something custom that you're thinking about and you think I could be the guy to bring it to life for you, then just Instagram DMs, or houseofjmp123@gmail.com. Send me an email. It's where I do all my business inquiries. So yeah, I'm open to making your wildest creative dreams come true.
The ideas are going to now start flooding. JM, we can't wait to see what's next for the House of JMP. I'm personally excited about the jerseys. Can't wait to see what's next for you, my friend. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll talk to you soon. Enjoy the rest of your summer.
All right, thank you, Ruffer.